long before temples were built, before laws were written, before altars were regulated, before priests memorized rituals and kings inherited crowns, Scripture introduces a figure who does not belong to any system humanity would later build. He does not arrive with ceremony. He does not announce his authority. He does not explain himself. He appears, he blesses, and he vanishes. Yet the Bible refuses to let him be forgotten. His name is Melchizedek, and everything about how Scripture handles him is intentional. The world Melchizedek stepped into was already fractured. Humanity had survived the flood, but not learned from it. Violence returned quickly. Pride rebuilt what judgment had torn down. Kings rose through conquest, not righteousness. Power belonged to the strong, not the just. This was a world where gods were territorial, where priests served idols, and where righteousness was rare. Abram lived in this world. He was not yet Abraham. No covenant sign marked his body. No nation followed his name. He was simply a man who heard a voice and obeyed it, a voice that told him to leave his homeland, leave security, leave familiarity, and walk toward a promise without proof. Then war erupted. 4 kings from the east swept through the land like a blade. They crushed 5 regional kings. Cities fell. People were dragged away in chains. Among the captives was Lot, Abram's nephew. Abram did not seek conflict, but injustice pulled him into it. With only trained servants and allies, Abram pursued armies that outmatched him. He attacked at night. He divided his forces. He struck decisively. Against every natural expectation, Abram won. The captives were freed. The stolen goods were recovered. The conquering kings fled. Abram returned victorious. And Scripture slows down. Not to praise Abram, but to introduce someone greater, without genealogy, without explanation, without warning. And Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought out bread and wine. He was priest of God Most High. Genesis 14 verses 18. That sentence should unsettle the reader, because nothing like this should exist yet. At this point in history, there is no law, no tabernacle, no priestly tribe, no sacrificial code. Yet here stands a priest, not a pagan priest, not a servant of a regional god, a priest of God Most High. The same God Abram follows, the same God who called him out of idolatry, the same God who promised descendants. Melchizedek already knows him, and Scripture offers no explanation for how. Melchizedek blesses Abram, not the other way around. In biblical order, blessing flows from the greater to the lesser. Abram does not challenge this. He does not ask for credentials. He does not question authority. Instead, he responds instinctively. He gives Melchizedek 1/10 of everything. The first tithe in Scripture is not commanded. It is not legislated. It is not enforced. It is voluntary recognition of superiority. And Scripture does not correct Abram. It records the act as valid. Melchizedek's name carries meaning. Melchizedek, king of righteousness, king of Salem, king of peace, a king and a priest united in one person. Later, God would separate these roles, kings from Judah, priests from Levi. That separation was intentional because fallen men could not be trusted with both. Yet here, before institutions exist, the union stands without rebuke. Melchizedek does not demand loyalty. He does not seize territory. He does not build monuments. He blesses. He acknowledges God's authority. And he disappears. No death recorded. No successor named. No lineage traced. The story moves forward as if nothing unusual happened. But heaven does not forget. Generations pass. Abram becomes Abraham. Isaac is born. Jacob wrestles with God. Israel forms. The law is given. The priesthood is established. Suddenly, genealogy matters. Priests must come from Levi. Records are kept. Births are traced. Deaths are documented. The Bible becomes meticulous with lineage. Except for one man, Melchizedek. Scripture never anchors him to a father, never records his mother, never lists his birth, never describes his death. This is not oversight. God is not careless with records. The absence is deliberate. Then King David speaks, a warrior, a king, a prophet. Under divine inspiration, he writes words that fracture religious expectation. The Lord has sworn and will not change his mind. You are a priest forever, according to the order of Melchizedek. David is not a priest. He is from Judah, not Levi. By law, he is disqualified. Yet God declares an eternal priesthood through him, not Levitical, not temporary. Melchizedek's order, this is where Melchizedek stops being merely historical. He becomes a pattern. The book of Hebrews refuses to explain him away. Instead, it leans into the tension. It describes Melchizedek as without father or mother, without genealogy, having neither beginning of days nor end of life, but resembling the Son of God. Scripture does not say Melchizedek is the Son of God. It says he resembles him. He is a shadow. Levitical priests are appointed by ancestry. Melchizedek is appointed by God. Levitical priests serve temporarily. Melchizedek's priesthood has no recorded end. Levitical priests are replaced by death. Melchizedek's office remains untouched by time. Hebrews draws an unsettling conclusion. Abraham gave Melchizedek tithes, and Levi, still unborn, symbolically did the same. Which means the Levitical priesthood submitted to Melchizedek before it existed. The law bowed to something older. This changes everything, because it means God's authority was never confined to Sinai, never limited to ritual, never dependent on temple walls. There was always something older, higher, eternal. Then Jesus arrives, born from Judah, not Levi. By law, he cannot be a priest, yet God appoints him anyway, not by lineage, not by ritual washing, but by divine oath. You are a priest forever, according to the order of Melchizedek. Jesus does not replace the Levitical priesthood. He surpasses it. Levitical priests offer sacrifices repeatedly. Jesus offers himself once. They stand daily. He sits because his work is finished. They enter the holy place annually. He enters heaven itself. They mediate temporarily. He mediates eternally. Melchizedek existed to prepare humanity for this reality, a priesthood not inherited, a righteousness not earned, a peace not enforced by power. Notice what Melchizedek brings Abram: bread, wine, not sacrifice, not blood, communion before covenant. Melchizedek does not argue doctrine. He does not establish law. He blesses in God's name and leaves. Scripture does not tell us where Melchizedek came from. Because origin is irrelevant to eternity, it does not tell us where he went. Because eternity does not depart. Some figures are explained. Others are left standing, so they cannot be controlled. Melchizedek is one of them. He reminds us that God was active before systems, that righteousness existed before religion, that priesthood preceded temples. Melchizedek stands as evidence that God's authority is not invented by man. It is revealed, briefly, then withdrawn. The silence around Melchizedek is louder than explanation, because mystery humbles the mind. Melchizedek is not a puzzle to solve. He is a warning that God's order predates our institutions, that eternity entered history quietly, and that some truths are only revealed enough to be trusted, not mastered. He appears once, blesses once, and Scripture never closes his account, because eternity does not need a conclusion. If you find this story interesting, do well to hit the like button, share and subscribe for more biblical stories.